Dear friends, this is episode number 82. We have dealt with up to Rule 33 of Order 41 in the previous episode. Rule 34, when in a dissent to be recorded, that applies only to the High Court and above. Now we will go to Rule 35, Decree in Appeal. What is a decree? Decree, we have seen the definition of decree, definition of judgment, and a decree is to be drawn up not by the judge as such, but it must be signed by the judge. It will be done by a clerk in the office of the court, and it shall bear the date on which the judgment was pronounced, contain the number of appeal, the details of parties. Decree shall also state the amount of cost incurred. What are all the cost incurred? Cost incurred, stamp on wakalat, stamp on petitions, court fee paid, this, that, all those things will be in a tabulated form, it will be given, tabular form it will be given. The decree shall be signed and dated by the judge or judges. Judge has to sign. But it does not apply to appeals. Yes. Judge dissenting from the judgment, that applies only to the High Court and above. Then next, Rule 36, copies of judgment and decree to be furnished to the parties on application made to the appellate court. A copy, it is called a copy application. The respective civil rules of practice of the state provide for the application, emergent application, ordinary application, and all those things. And the certified copy of the judgment will be issued by the office. It should contain certain things compulsorily. All those things we will deal with while dealing with section 12 of the Limitation Act. I will explain. Then certified copies of decree to be sent to the court whose decree is appealed from. So it shall be sent, so that that court is aware of. A copy of the judgment and decree certified by the appellate court or such officer as appoints shall be sent to the court which passed the decree appeal from, and shall be filed with the original proceedings in the suit. And an entry of the judgment of the appellate court shall be made in the register of civil suits. Why it is so? Suppose the trial court passed a decree, it is modified by the appellate court. Execution is taken, and the executing court must know what variation has been made. Otherwise, the court will be committing a mistake. It will be disobeying the orders of the appellate court. So the appellate court shall scrupulously follow it. It will be done, and on receipt of it, the trial court shall record it, and appropriate entry shall be made in the register of civil suits. That also will be scrupulously done. No doubt about it. And the execution petition, you may say there is a column whether you have filed, whether there was any appeal, and what is the result. All those things must be stated there, so that it can be verified by the executive court looking into the suit records. That will be done. All these things will be taken care of, no doubt about it. Now we will go to appeals from orders. We have seen 104. We will go back to 104 again. 104 was just referred to, but now we will see. So whenever we say anything about appeals from orders, it must be borne in mind. Automatically it must come to your mind. Section 104 read with Order 43. 104 read with Order 43. Appeal from decree, section 96 read with Order 41. It shall be automatic. I say this is a regular affair. You say people know it. Orders from which appeal lies, section 104. An appeal shall lie from the following orders, and save as otherwise expressly provided in the body of this code or by any law for the time being in force, from no other orders. So what are all the items provided here? Several items deleted, by the 1940 amendment, 76 amendment, etc. Now what remains is the following items: an order under 35A, compensatory costs; an order under 91 or 92 refusing leave to institute a suit of the nature referred to in 91 and 92. 91 public nuisances and other of say inconveniences caused, 92 is public charities. An order under 95, compensation for obtaining illegal arrest, attachment, etc. on insufficient grounds. Then next, an order under any of the provisions of the code imposing a fine or directing arrest or detention in civil prison of any person except where such arrest or detention is in execution of a decree. So any arrest or detention other than by way of execution is appealable as an appeal from an order. It is not a decree, it is appeal from an order. Any order made under the rules from which an appeal is expressly allowed by the rules. Any order made under rules from which an appeal is expressly provided by rules. Which are they? Order 43 you have to see. Then there are certain rules, for example, Rule 58 of Order 21, which itself provides for it, garnishee proceedings, Rule 41 to 41I, and say 97, removal of resistance or obstruction, 97 to 104, which provide for passing an order which is appealable as a decree. Provided that no appeal shall lie against any order specified in clause F, that is compensatory costs, some restrictions are there. Then no appeal shall lie from any order passed in appeal under this section. So in a decree, that is a differentiation. In the case of a decree, an appeal lies, second appeal lies, provided there is a substantial question of law. Section 100 provides for it. Here an order is passed which is appealable either under section 104 or under order 43 or otherwise in the body of this code. An appeal is filed, no further appeal. No appeal shall lie from any order passed in appeal under this section. So when an appeal is filed, that is an end of it, only one appeal. Now we will see order 43. Order 43. Rule 1. Appeals from orders. An appeal shall lie from the following orders under the provisions of section 104. See the connection? Namely, several clauses. Just have a cursory glance. An order under Rule 10 of Order 7 returning a plaint. An order under Rule 9 of Order 9 rejecting an application. Order 9, Rule 9, a suit is dismissed for default. The aggrieved party files an application to set aside the dismissal for default. If it is allowed, no appeal. If it is rejected, an appeal lies here. So read fully. See, whenever we see Order 9, Rule 9, all right, appealable, file appeal. Where it is allowed, no appeal. Where it is dismissed, an appeal lies. Next also, an order under Rule 13 of Order 9, what is it? Setting aside ex parte decree. Order 9, Rule 13. Order 9, Rule 13, say an ex parte decree is passed. The aggrieved party files an application, that is the defendant files an application to set aside the ex parte decree. If that is allowed, no appeal. If that is dismissed, an appeal lies. An order under Rule 13 of Order 9 rejecting an application in case open to appeal for an order to set aside decree passed ex parte. An appeal should lie from the decree, then only in such an ex parte decree is passed, it can be set aside under Order 9 Rule 13. If that application is rejected, see, the aggrieved party can file an appeal as an appeal from an order. An order under Rule 21 of Order 11, that is non-compliance with the order for discovery. discovery and inspection order 11, non-compliance with the order, an order will be passed under Rule 21, that is appealable. An order under Rule 34 of Order 21 on an objection to the draft of a document or an endorsement. A draft of the document which is directed to be executed, which is approved by the court, an order is passed, that order is appealable. An order under Rule 72 or 92 of Order 21 setting aside or refusing to set aside a sale. We have seen in execution Rule 72, Rule 92. An order rejecting an application made under Sub-Rule 1 of Rules 106 of Order 21, provided that order on the original application, that is to say the application referred to in Sub-Rule 1 of Rule 105 of that order is appealable. 105 of Order 21 provides for dismissal of an application where on the date fixed for hearing of that application, the applicant does not appear, it will be dismissed for default. If the respondent does not appear, the applicant appears, an order will be passed ex parte. Rule 106 provides for setting aside that dismissal for default or for an ex parte order. And if that application is rejected, an appeal lies here. If that application is allowed, no appeal. That is Order 9, Rule 9, Order 9, Rule 13. Only when it is rejected, an appeal is provided. If it is allowed, no appeal. An order under Rule 9 of Order 22 refusing to set aside the abatement or dismissal. Order 22 we have seen at the inception, either in episode 2 or 3. An order under Rule 10 of Order 22 giving or refusing to grant leave, that is for assignment of the property pending. An order under Rule 2 of Order 35 rejecting an application for an order to set aside the dismissal of a suit, that is security for cause, security proceedings. An order under Rule 5 or Rule 7 of Order 33 rejecting an application to permission to sue as an indigent person. Two orders, Rule 5, Rule 7, we have seen while dealing with Order 33. Then orders in interpleader suits, 35, Order 35. An order under Rule 2, 3, 6 of Order 38, that is arrest or attachment before judgment. 3 orders are appealable. An order under Rule 1, Rule 2 or Rule 2A, Rule 4 or Rule 100 or 10 of Order 39. Order 39, temporary injunction, interlocutory orders. The following rules there, the rules mentioned there are appealable. Orders under those rules are appealable. An order under Rule 1 or Rule 4 of Order 40, that is appointment of receiver. An order of refusal under Rule 19 of Order 41 to readmit or under Rule 21 to rehear an appeal. We have seen an appeal, it is posted for hearing. After the admission is over, then it is posted for hearing. If on that day the appellant is absent, it will be dismissed for default. If it is the respondent is absent, it will be heard ex parte. An application can be made to set aside the dismissal for default and to readmit the appeal. And if it is heard ex parte, to rehear the appeal. That is it. An order under Rule 23 or 23 of Order 41 remanding a case where an appeal would lie from the decree of the appellate court. That also we have seen in detail. A remand is appealable. Here, an order under 23, 23A. 23 and 23A speaks of remand of Order 41, and that is appealable. Section 105(2) says that when there is an appeal provided, you do not file an appeal, you cannot challenge it thereafter. I also said that it is except in Supreme Court. That order here. An order under Rule 4 of Order 47 granting an application for review. Please note, granting an application for review. Order 47 deals with the review. If the review petition is dismissed, no appeal. The review is allowed, there is an appeal. So review, see, ordinarily no review will be entertained unless there are grave mistakes. So if that review petition is granted, that is if it is allowed, an appeal lies as an appeal from an order. If it is rejected, no. Now rule 1A, that also we have dealt with. Right to challenge non-appealable orders in appeal against decrees. While dealing with section 96 and also compromise order 23, all these things we have dealt with in detail, but just for the sake of completeness. Where an order is made under this code against a party and thereupon any judgment is pronounced against such party and a decree is drawn up, such party may, in an appeal against the decree, contend that such order should not have been made and the judgment should not have been pronounced. During the course of the suit, several interlocutory applications may come, and some of the interlocutory applications, an order passed is appealable. And even if a party does not appeal therefrom, he is not going to lose. Sometimes he may win in the case, succeed in the case. Or even if he loses, it has got a bearing on the merits of the case. That order in the application has got a bearing, a connection in respect of the appeal. In the appellate court, you can say that that order is wrong. Then the appellate court will not ask why you did not file any appeal. It is not necessary. It is not every stage the party need not go to the appellate court or high court in revision. He can wait. Still, even if he has got setbacks at the interlocutory stage, he may ultimately win. That is enough for him. A temporary suffering by dismissal or allowing an application which may not have far-reaching consequences, he need not appeal. Then, sub-rule 2, in an appeal against a decree passed in a suit after recording a compromise or refusing to record a compromise, it shall be open to the appellant to contest the decree on the ground that the compromise should or should not have been recorded. That also we have seen along with Order 23 Rule 3, Order 23 Rule 3A, Section 96 and Order 41 and Order 43 Rule 1A, that is this. All those provisions, and we said that there is no conflict between 96.3 and Order 41 Rule 1A. This is dealt with in great detail, and the decisions on that aspect were also given. The rules in Order 41, 41A and 42 of Rule 2.2 shall apply so far as may be to appeals from orders specified in Rule 1 and other orders of any civil court from which an appeal to the High Court is allowed under any provision of law. 41, 41A, 42 shall apply same procedure in an appeal from an order. When record may be sent up by the lower court, provided that in the case of appeals against interlocutory orders made prior to decree, the court which passed the order appeal from shall not send the records of the case unless that order has been made for stay, unless an order has been made for stay of further proceedings in the court. Why? Because otherwise what will happen if the case is posted for final hearing, in the sense that trial. At that time an interlocutory order is passed. You may challenge it in appeal, appealable order, or revision. Then call for the records. Then thereafter that will take time. Then sending back the records, even if you fail, that will also take some time, usual process, so that you can gain time in the lower court. That should not be done unless it is stayed. Lower court proceedings are stayed. Lower court records need not be sent unless it is called for by the appellate court. When it is called for by the appellate court, it shall be sent. Now with this we are coming to an end of the Civil Procedure Code, the provisions. I mentioned in the introduction, episode number 1, that I was dealing with the classes in the National University of Advanced Legal Studies, and because of COVID-19 we had to discontinue the classes, and therefore I have started this. I had an idea to have the full thing, but it was accelerated by the COVID. So I have done those subjects which were not dealt with in the National University of Advanced Legal Studies. But that is not an answer to the non-completeness of the provisions which are not dealt with here. Other important provisions in the CPC, not necessarily all the sections and orders and rules need not be, but those important sections and orders will be dealt with in various episodes after I take Limitation Act next. So within 2 or 3 days I will start Limitation Act in detail. The principles of limitation, not the articles as such. Articles, except those articles which are very relevant, I need not deal with. Suit for money, suit for recovery of possession, this and all those things. What is a period of limitation? Just look at it, you can understand. So that unless it is discussion is required, I will not be dealing with the articles in the Limitation Act, but sections in the Limitation Act and the principles, the various aspects, important aspects, I will be dealing with. Within a week I will start the Limitation Act. So with this, dear friends, I am closing for the time being the Civil Procedure Code, and after completing the Limitation Act, say, dear friends, I will resume in a more detailed form some of the provisions, important provisions in the CPC, and we will meet again on that. Say within 2 or 3 days I will start Limitation Act, we will see again. That will be dealt with in some more exhaustive fashion. Thank you very much. Thank you.